We're here to share the NBL, the National Basketball League 5-game series between Sydney Kings and Adelaide 36ers. Let's drive into it! Hello and welcome back to the channel of the podcast. I'm your host BJ, and it's been a long time since we shared the last time about between these top two sides, finishing first and second between Sydney Kings first and Adelaide 36ers in second place. Now, this is one I call one of the best championship series since the Adelaide 36ers have really wanted it all the way to the fifth game. Did we make that far? Well, I went to game 3. I was promised to do game 4 and 5. I do apologise. I will share my thoughts and reviews and all of that when the time comes. If you are new, welcome to the channel, and I appreciate your time and much appreciate you can absolutely keep that following. And that'll be awesome. Wherever you get your podcast, make sure you just keep that down. Make sure you keep listening because what a show we have to you. And on the YouTube fans, thank you so much. I really appreciate showing my thoughts and how I can review my thoughts of this one of the best championship series. And I'm going to go from game 1 up to maybe get to game 5. Do we go to game 5? We'll share that very soon. So I'm going to really congratulate to Sydney Kings and the LA 36ers first up. My goodness, it is the best two teams going head to head. We knew it's going to be, I thought it was going to be a very good championship, but there's been some up and downs, but we're both focusing about the basketball both teams are, about the, how it all wrapped it up to, we'll definitely share game 4, because definitely went to game 4, but how we wrapped it up into game 5, we'll get there. Well, and also, so let's into it. Yeah, look, it's new players. Boss Collins in championship experience, we knew that. Ben Cameron coming in to the team. We got this is maybe what I see the great modern Adelaide 36ers in assets a long time. And coming in under pressure, coming to one of the best basketball arenas in Australia, in the country, at the Stadium East Hall. We'll share that in just a moment, and that is called Woodlands Bank Arena, with attendance of 13,181. So did that crowd went bigger? Or maybe it could. And I got to say right now, look, overall, I really feel Adelaide, have they learned a lesson from game 1 to game 2? And I really think it was new for them. And half of their list for the Adelaide 36ers, Sydney had better depth. Sydney had more knowing this could be in their season. And, Isaac Humphries, DJ Bankovic, former Sydney King players, so they knew they were taking the against as well, having, Chunham and Cotton and Cameron, White, all of them on the bench are basically have never been there. And being a really, really awesome experience to see them playing championship. They know what it feels to get to that goal now. It's about how to win it. And I tell you right now, how much is important, we'll get there. Right now, we passed game 1. How is game 2 went? This could be anyone's game. Sydney came to Adelaide in a hot environment of the mother sold out crowd. And I tell you right now, 91 to 89. The first game was 112 to 68. Big difference. How much Adelaide wanted it more? They wanted it more. And Henry Davis got in game 1. Bryce Collins did game 2. The fast break won the Adelaide 36ers to victory. The series went back to Sydney. Before I get that, it was 1-1. Sydney lead 1-0 to 1-1. And boy, it was anyone's to win it. How much did Adelaide respond in from game? They had momentum. They had more momentum, and they had earned their respect and spot to go to Sydney and take a 2-1 lead. Wow, could they? I gotta say right now, big winners, and it'll be loud. It was hot. And I got to say, I was happy. Then Sydney to the Adelaide 36ers Arena. 10,058 packed the Adelaide Entertainment Centre. Game number 3. 106-93. High scoring. This was a better chance. And once again, they started well, Adelaide, but couldn't finish it. The 18,373 was packed in game number 3. No one was going to be a more harder chance of winning. 36ers had everything for game number 3, and this was a better response. Sydney were better. I have respect that Sydney had better depth, a very good coach, and everything planned. Then it was game 4. To live the spirits, the championship series, but it didn't work. Adelaide 36ers had everything to win it, had everything to do, but Sydney came out on top, but dominated in the second half. They were not finished. Bryce Connon dominated once again, but it was Callan Archie. Nazani Archie dominated in game number 4, 92-91. 10,068 packed the Adelaide Entertainment Centre. Then, 24 years drought. This is what I'm saying. You do have teams are playing for a drought, but Sydney have players and dominate. And I can't believe it. I can't not believe it. That it was almost went overtime. In game number 4, Sydney had everything to win it. Then, well done to Everett to Sydney. Adelaide had more doubt to winning in front of 10,008 at the Adelaide Entertainment Centre. But this is the one Adelaide dominated in front of 18,589 attenders at the Bank Arena in Sydney. The 5th game that Adelaide had everything to deal with. Both Keenan Davis and Bryce Connon, 35 points. But this is what the huge thing is. Adelaide dominated, but Sydney won how many quarters? 3. Went to OT. Sydney wanted it more. And oh my goodness, it changed. And 6 from 17, Kevin Davis. 6-13, Bryce Connon. Kevin Davis was shooting 0 from 4. The overtime had Sydney. Teams had more confidence. They may not have their best stars on the court. Same with Adelaide 36ers. We had everything on court, maybe even getting our players a chance for glory. But this is huge. We know how important that the Adelaide 36ers needed this win to make it 24 hours. But it's sport, we move on. It's life. But I've got to say, well done to the team. Without doubt, finishing from against a team we beat in the Asian final. And Sydney took the championship. So these two have met in final. It's when you're on court, you're not friends. You want it. Off court, it's like, yeah, you're friends. But I tell you right now, it's happened. We're focused in the off season and we'll find that talent. And we know how important to bring your 25 years down. And Adelaide do that. But it's basketball. We know how much. But join the NBL 1 around the country. From south, east, north, central. If I miss one more, I do apologise for that. So maybe there is 5 conferences around Australia. Go to NBL 1 on the app or nbl.com.au on the globe, on Google, and you can check that. So congratulations once again to Sydney Kings winning another championship. Adelaide heads up. You had a war. I call it the best series I've seen in a long time. Be proud for the new who made to the championship series. Congratulations. Know we had some great players in this team, the leadership, to lead to the championship. And we know how amazing Game 5 was. We had everything in the bank, but unfortunately, we didn't just prepared. We just fortunately just couldn't. We were just a bit unfortunate. So, congratulations to Sydney Kings. Adelaide heads up. Well, that's it for our reviews. I hope you enjoy it. Make sure you hit that following and make sure you follow on YouTube as well and wherever you get your podcast here on the BJ Show. I am your host, BJ. Thank you so much for hearing and I hope you enjoy much as I did sharing the NBL and the National Basketball League Championship Series after Game 5. That is the Australian Basketball League. The league is for the Australian basketball and the association is the American. So just to make sure you understood that part where you are listening. So catch you all soon. And that's all, folks. Cheers.